Introduction to robotics, control of a servo motor with Arduino, controlling 3 servo motors at a time. Now, for this tutorial, you would need the following components. You would need a microcontroller, 3 servo motors, a breadboard, jumper wires, and a USB cable, a type A to B. Now, servo motors will have, you'll find many servo motors out in the market. The one we selected here has a mass of 9 grams and a maximum stall torque of about 2 kilograms centimeters. And by 2 kilograms centimeters, we mean that the servo motor can carry or move up a mass of 2 kilograms hanging at a distance of 1 centimeter from the center of the shaft of the motor. And if we substitute this into the formula for torque, so we have the force times the perpendicular distance. The force would be the weight, and in this case we're talking about 2 kilograms times 9.81, which is the acceleration due to gravity on Earth, and then just multiplied by d, 1 centimeter. Just don't forget to use consistent units. So if we have meters here, we should have also meters here. So we just need to divide it by 100 centimeters, and this will give you a torque of about roughly 0.2 Newton meters. So as a rule of thumb, you can simply take the whatever value you have in kilograms centimeters and just divide it by 10, and you will get it now in Newton meters. Breadboards, these are units that are used for building the circuit, the electronic circuits. And the advantage of using these units is that you wouldn't need soldering. And this is very important when you're still at the prototyping stage. And as you can see here, so it's plastic. We have a plastic cover with multiple holes, and beneath these holes we'll have metallic pieces with certain clips here. And the whole idea is that the horizontal holes are connected together. You can see that these holes will be connected together, and the ones here on the right are connected together. We have on the other side, we have vertical, the holes on a vertical line here. They are connected together here. So all of the holes here on this line will be connected, are connected, physically connected together, and we can designate them with a negative sign here. And we can have all the holes here on this vertical line also connected together, and we can designate them with a positive sign. Positive and negative here, they correspond to the voltage and the ground. Here we have a picture of the microcontroller, the Arduino Uno, that we'll be using in this tutorial. The microcontroller is basically a programmable device that takes in certain input, can process it, and will give out certain output. It will have processor inputs, outputs, as I said, and microcontrollers are found in cellular phones. They are found in remote controls, in washing machines, in microwaves, in car engines, and in many applications. Not necessarily exactly in this form. On the other hand, we have the servo motor. Servo motors, usually they end up with a socket, like in this one, where you can push in jumper wires, and you will have 3 wires. One would be a red wire, which should be connected to the 5 volts pin on the Arduino board. We'll have a black wire, which should be connected to the ground pin on the Arduino board, and a yellow or sometimes an orange color that should be connected to one of the pins on the Arduino board. In this case, we're gonna connect it to the digital pin number 9, but not necessarily. It could be to any other pin. So as a summary, we'll have to connect 3 wires to the servo motor, 1 red, 1 black, and 1 yellow. The red corresponding to the voltage, the black to the ground, and the yellow to the signal. Here we have the connected circuit. You can see that you would need to connect a one wire from the servo motor, and it's better to choose a red one so you can keep track of the connections. And this is towards the 5 volts because this servo motor operates on a 5 volts. And we'll have a black wire connected to the ground. Could be this one, either one should be okay. And we'll have a wire from the servo motor connected to the digital pin number 9 here. Here we have the circuit as we connected the wires from the servo motor to the breadboard, and then from the breadboard towards the microcontroller. Of course, it would have been possible to connect the wires directly from the servo motor towards the microcontroller. However, we're going to use the breadboard here because still we need to add other components in this. So it's very important to understand how to connect the wires to the breadboard and then from the breadboard to the microcontroller. So you can see that we have the black wire here, which should be connected to the ground of the microcontroller. Is first connected to. You can select any row of holes here. They are all connected together. So we have this wire now to this hole. We have it here, and then we got another short black wire and to connect it to any other hole in the same row. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, because this is already taken. You have 4 different options here, so you can select any one of them. So from here, and then you're gonna take it and connect it to the negative. So these holes here on the top, in the second row here, all connected together. They have a designation of negative, which of course is optional for you, but it just gives you a guide as a guidance to connect it to the ground. And then we have the red wire now connected to another hole here, and then we had another short wire from another hole on the same row. Now in this case we were gonna connect it to the positive row of holes at the top, which the positive corresponds to the line connected to the voltage, in this case to the 5 volts. Then we have the orange wire here, which corresponds to the signal wire, and we have it on this row. And then again from any other hole on the same row, we're gonna have another wire that goes all the way towards the microcontroller to pin number 9. So we'll have from the microcontroller here, we will have the signal sent through here, through the breadboard, and then directly to the servo motor to control the angular position of the shaft of the motor. Here what we did is we added the another wire to the 5 volts here on the microcontroller. The red one here, you can see it's in the same row that we have here. So all of the components or wires hooked up to the holes on this row on the top will get a 5 volts. And then we had another wire also from the ground on the microcontroller toward the second row here. So all of the components or wires hooked up to the holes on this row will also be connected to the ground. Here we have a picture of the 3 servo motors connected to the breadboard, and then through the breadboard to the microcontroller. At the same time, we have the USB cable here, which would be connected to the laptop. We have an external power source here, which we can connect to the positive and negative lines here. Then what you need to do is to download the Arduino software. This is, you can find it in their website, arduino.cc. from here, software downloads. You get different options, so you select the one most suitable for you. Now, after you run the software, a window will appear looking like this, in which we have the pieces of code should be inserted somewhere here, and any code in Arduino would consist of two main blocks or functions: the void setup and the void loop. The code here is pretty basic. We have in the heading, we have the defined 3 servo motors, servo motor 1, 2, and 3. You could have given them any other names. And we have defined 3 variables, position 1, position 2, and position 3. And then within the void setup function, this function will be run only once. Here we're saying that servo 1, which corresponds to the first servo motor, it is going to be attached to the digital pin number 3. For servo 2, to digital pin number 5, and so on. And by the way, it could have been they could have been attached to any other digital pins. It's not necessarily 3, 5, and 9. Then void loop function, this will be repeated indefinitely. Now here we define the value for each position. So this is the angular position of the shaft of motor 1. So in this case, you want to start with 0, 0, 0, 0, and then we are sending a signal to the servo motors to really move the shaft to reach this position here. It starts with 0. If you wish, you can, and then so to control it, you just gonna change the numbers here. Instead of 0, you want to have it as 180, 90, 45. It's up to you. Just need to double check and make sure that you have the correct board defined here. Underneath the tools, you'll have board. Here we're using Arduino Uno, and you want to make sure also you're defining this correct port. Finally, here we can see the completed circuit, and we can see a video showing how to control the 3 motors at the same time. At the beginning, I gave an angle of 180 to the all of the 3 positions, as you can see. Then I gave an angle of 90 degrees. And finally, I gave each one of them a different angle. Okay, that was it. Thank you.